did not hold.
Because the doctors had to attend to the ones who were born in JC, yes. Because people were poor and they wanted to scoop fuel.
Yes.
And, you know, sometimes when things happen, I'm always talking about it, that one story happens, you don't know the human stories beneath each major tragedy.
Exactly.
For each major tragedy, there are human stories, human lives changed irreparably. Go on, please.
So, when the money was refunded, my mother simply took the money back to where she had lent the money, borrowed the money from, and paid back, because the operation didn't take place.
Right.
And we continued with drugs. Drugs did not help matters. I kept on going for my checkups. I had used up to 6 different hospitals here in Lagos, in Delta State, and of course, you know, the spiritual angle to it. There was one church here, another church there. One thing I really enjoyed about it was the adventure. You know, the adventure was, in this state, I've been able to travel to. I went to Ekiti, which I would have never been to if not for it, because I don't know if I have any ties in Ekiti. Nothing exactly takes me there. I went to Ekiti, Ondo, Oyo, you know. I was just traveling here and there. One church,
from one church to
hospital,
the other, one hospital to the other.
It's there, okay, we are going there. It's here, okay, we are coming here. You know? We're just moving around. I remember one of my doctors, the last one I visited, Dr. Dawud asked me a question. Kilembaka.
What are you searching for all over the place?
What are you searching for? There's nothing that can be done. It was then it dawned on me that, oh boy, you just have to settle with it. And that was 12 years into it. Excuse me. That was 12 years into it. So for 12 years I had believed that something good was going to come out. It's not as if my hope is dead, but it was then I got to see that you just have to make the best out of every situation you are in. And for 12 years, even with my certificates and the rest, I knew that I still wanted something more. I still wanted something more. I just felt like I was still empty. I was getting the certificates for the sake of it.
Right. Why did you go in the area of communications?
Just about the time my father died, I was, like every young child, I had a dream of becoming an engineer. My father was...
Not every young child. I never wanted to become an engineer.
No. What I mean is that every young child always chooses a profession.
Yes, like that.
Know? Engineer. I want to become an engineer. I want to become a medical doctor, a lawyer.
Mine was doctors. Thank God, thank God, no doctor for me. Right.
You know, I wanted to become an engineer. I enjoyed my father's that spirit, the spirit he had whenever he had a job to do.
Your father was an engineer?
My father was a mechanical engineer.
Right.
I would watch him while he would take a photocopier, pieces it, and he's arranged it, and he starts working. Man, it was beautiful. I began to nurse that ambition. But along the line, I saw that it wasn't going to be possible. I continued. In the SS class, in the senior secondary class, I was a science student until SS2 when I failed.
Did you fail woefully or fail
I failed beautifully. I failed beautifully. Then I was in, because we couldn't afford a private school, so I was in a public school. My mother felt that was the reason.
You went to a Jack Conde school? Did you? You went to a Jack Conde school?
What do you mean Jack Conde school?
I don't know. I went to a Jack Conde school.
Okay, maybe in your days, Jack Conde schools were very beautiful.
I'm sorry, I betrayed my age. No, excuse me, Jack Conde school was not beautiful in my age. My teacher, Mr. Ajila, used to say to me, Fumi, if you come to a bad school like this and you fail on top of it, that is dead body, get here. That's double jeopardy. I was determined to come out of that bloody school with flying colors, even if I had to teach myself, as we didn't even have teachers, talk less of tables or anything else. You know, so tell me, were you in a similar kind of school?
Well, I was at a time. My mother felt that was the reason.
Right.
So we had to, even though it was difficult, she had to struggle more for us to get back to the private school.
Right.
Which we did. And I failed again. The same SS2. But my past records was what helped me get into SS3.
Right.
A panel was set up, and my teachers then were like, no, Solomon is not this person. He's always been very brilliant. He's always been this. Some people had to stick their neck out for me to go into the next class. So I was promoted on trial. I got into the next class, and typical of me, I knew that I had failed twice. And this time, I left the science class because I knew I couldn't cope anymore. My vision wasn't too sharp enough to pick science experiments. So I moved into the arts class. Then I began to nurse the dream of becoming an agriculture engineer. I still had that engineer touch.